The Ball State University African American Alumni Oral History Project is an immersive learning course focused on documenting the experiences of Black alumni over the past 7 decades. The workshop's 10 students interviewed 22 alumni and brought their life stories into Ball State's history, just in time for the university's centennial celebration in 2018. These oral histories will join 22 others gathered by students in 2015, and together they provide a more diverse and inclusive perspective on what it means to be a cardinal of color.
Well, look at it from a really practical way. What do you like to eat? And I said, given a choice of having beans for dinner or steak, what do you want? Well, steak. Well, how are you going to get the steak? You got to have that education. If you don't have the education, then get to enjoy beans, because that's what you're going to eat.
So, and in my era, our parents told us, you got to get an education. No, you can play basketball, but you got to put it between your ears, because when you do that, they can't take it. But whatever else you do, you can lose it. You can lose your ability to play, you can lose your eyesight, but you won't lose your brain unless they cut your head off. Then it won't make any difference.
Dad would have all of the children, from the youngest to the oldest, at our dinner table by lamplight, kerosene lamplight, teaching us. And that's probably why we excelled so much.
We had our world, our black world here at Ball State, and then there was the white world. And that was just the way it was. That was the way it was. But it being that way served as inspiration and fuel to continue to seek excellence and victory in your professional life.
The willingness to keep going, to keep fighting, to keep moving forward no matter the obstacle in order to achieve your goal, what you want in life, and you can't let somebody else stop you.
And at times I felt that I needed to emphasize that just because there are 2 African American women here, we are not homogeneous in any way. And sometimes the faculty and sometimes the students wanted to treat us at times as though if you saw one, you saw the other, or one of us or both of us could speak for the whole African American nation. And so I had to get that straight.
In grad school, one of my professors, he did like everything he could. He was so very negative, rude and disrespectful. And he told me once, I would never recommend you to be a counselor. And I said, and I would never ask you to.
I had heard the saying, if you are yellow, you're mellow. If you're brown, stick around. If you're white, you're all right. If you're black, get back. I knew I was brown at that time. So to hear my playmate, one who we got along very well as playmates, declare that she could get some black rubbed off on her from me was double shocking.
We had a young lady, she was a freshman, and we were in the hall going to the kitchenette to get something to cook because we didn't have meals in the residence hall on Friday evenings. And she wanted to know something. We said, well, what do you want to know? She says, do y'all have tails? Excuse me?
Here was Trudy sitting there on the couch, and she was crying, and so my dorm mother said, come in, have a seat, and said, we have a problem. And I said, okay, so what is it? And she said, well, when your roommate came back to the room, you had, a friend of yours sitting on her bed. I said, yes, she was sitting on the edge of the bed. And she said, well, Trudy seems to think that, black people have cooties, and she was told, her parents told her, and within her community, black people have tails like monkeys, and I had never heard that before and had never been discriminated against. And so I thought, you gotta be kidding.
The Special Program Center at the time when I was there was kind of a beacon. It was a place, it was a shelter where we came together to commune together, to mention things that happened in our lives here on campus. There wasn't a lot of room. When I say a lot of room, there was not for us to sit around and talk, but you would always see people there, or if you needed to meet somebody there, it was a good meeting spot. And it was a place in which we found cultural refuge.
Dr. Francesca Armour, she was a nursing major here. It was really interesting to me that she went from being a nurse in a hospital to teaching without having any extra education at first, and Ball State prepared her for that.
Delta Sigma Theta was and continues to be such a valuable part of my life. When we become deltas for life. And so being able to see, and my pledge sisters, when once our line went over, when we've had a couple who've passed on, but we were there when they were sick. You know, one was ill and ultimately moved to Milwaukee, Wisconsin, and we were there. I had one last time when I was planning to go up and see her, and I missed getting up to see her before she passed on. But that's what we do, and that's what I enjoyed.
What it was, when I came here in the fall of 1964, Ball State only allowed one black fraternity and one black sorority on this campus. So my brother, basically sitting on the student council, said, we have a problem here. Ball State's in violation of federal law. And I said, if you don't allow Omega Psi Phi and another sorority, Alpha Kappa Alpha, which was my mother's sorority, to be on this campus, we're going to file a federal lawsuit against you. With my father and other national members, they sent a letter to Ball State threatening the federal lawsuit. A month later, we were on campus.
Becoming a Kappa here at Ball State was a rich social experience for me, and helped with my desire to be totally integrated into the black milieu. And I enjoyed my Kappa years.
I was really invested in Ball State's, black communities, the alumni, and what they did with their lives and what they think about Ball State.
Coming to Muncie, coming to the Ball State community, from what I felt, the community welcomed us. The campus welcomed us.
The teachers that I had here were phenomenal. And I think I might have been, when I started, the only black girl that was in the theater program. And that changed in the time that I was here. They changed my life because they cross-cast. They tried to think of things for me to be in.
I would say I'm the most proud of actually getting a degree from Ball State. Following my mother's footsteps and being a college graduate is very, very important to me.
To me, I'm very happy I went to Ball State. I couldn't think of anything better.
A lot of what I've learned at Ball State comes in handy in terms of public speaking and how to, put together your thoughts and organize them. And so that's helped me out tremendously.
They say Ball State is like a transition. So it's a place for people in transition before they go off into the world and do what they want to do. And I think that's a true statement. But I know for me, Ball State, this is when I became enlightened. This is when I took a step forward in life and became a different person.
The experience, I had a joyful time in the School of Journalism. They treated me like I was a person. It was only 3 of us in the journalism school, African American. They could have been rude, they could have been not helpful, but they were not like that at all. They were very supportive and very nurturing. And they treated me like a human being.
It also gave me a greater understanding of the African American experience here in Muncie and here at Ball State, which is kind of the purpose that we did this project.
If it says take a village to raise a child, but now take a village to raise a village. What that means, we got to start looking out for our fellow man, no matter what color you are, no matter what gender you are. We got to start knocking door to door, make Muncie safe again. That's from neighborhoods, that's from the city, at the store. Start talking, building community engagement, start loving one another again. And that's the only way it's going to happen.
Our parents' teachings caused us to reach out to other people, because Mom and Dad always taught us, you must give back no matter what happens. You've got to give back to your community.
Crossing the lines was important to me. And so therefore, I continued, and I kept that as a part of my base as to why I believe that Muncie and Ball State are very important to my foundation.
What I got out of participating in the Ball State University African American Alumni Oral History Project was such a rich history of not only Ball State, but also of the African American culture as well.
My grandfather was Martin Luther King before Martin Luther King was Martin Luther King. His church was, to me, the true essence of Christianity, because oftentimes Christianity can turn into a social club. His church was about helping people. It was Christ-like in its mission. He wasn't trying to exclude anyone. We had members of every race that is in this surrounding area. We had Aborigine Americans. We had, of course, Black people. We had white people. We had poor people. We had upper class, every class. It was everyone that needed help in any way, emotionally, spiritually, financially, came to the church.
We were raised as Christians, but we were Methodist. It was Schaefer AME, African and Methodist Episcopal. We went to church every Sunday. It was important to go to Sunday school, and it was important to learn about Jesus Christ. And yes, my belief, we're rooted and raised that way. But I think our church was a kind of a neighborhood church. Not the only church in the neighborhood, but that upbringing, it was a sense of family.
I think historically, the church has always been a background and a structural support system for families, definitely minority families, helping them navigate through the world and individuals' journeys. I can definitely attest and can definitely be appreciative of the church helping me out and giving me good support and good guidance.
Oftentimes in our society, people are labeled as being a biologist or being a doctor or being a lawyer, but people are so much more than their occupation, and they're so much more than their field of study.
I've come to find out that you're not in life to discover who you are. You are born to create whoever you want to be. Your life, your destiny, your fate, whatever it is you want to call it, it is all in your hands.
It is important that we look at higher education as a mechanism to prepare people to interact with a wide range of individuals and understand the cultural aspects that make us human beings.
It's all about love, like the epitome of love, right? You got agape love, which is unconditional. You know, that's the highest, the godliest love. And I felt like that was there at all times, you know? And even when I was growing up, they used to say, you can do anything that you want to do. My dad used to say, you can go anywhere that you want to go. You just know how, you have to know how to move like the people that you are around, you know? And I took that and I was like, yeah, I do, I can, and I will.
I train the students to be curious on behalf of posterity, because I believe that the conversations we're having in the present about the past will be of enormous interest to people that haven't even been born yet. And we have to anticipate what those future generations would want to know and ask of the people who are the eyewitnesses to the history they're attesting to. One of the most influential people in my upbringing and in my oral history practice was Meridel LeSueur, a poet and screenwriter and novelist from Minnesota, born in 1900. And she told me, when I started out my oral history work in 1980, nobody should die without leaving an address. And for us, recording these life stories are ensuring that those individuals will have left an address.